Hello there. If we're meeting for the first time, my name is Jordan Debano and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you are looking for tips and strategies to help you reach your next level of success, ensure you subscribe to this channel and like this video. Today, we are speaking about winning the race to your goals. We are speaking about, when we're in that mode, we're revving the engine. It's like, I've got my goal. This must happen, and we're going for it. Okay, we're diving into that structure because okay, when you win, all right, when you win, or if you don't, but let's just assume you win. When you win, there's going to be only one of two outcomes. There's either going to be a scenario where that goal breeds more success in the role that you have in your company, in your business, in your life, or you're going to be in a golden handcuff scenario. Now, what do I mean by golden handcuff? Some of you may have heard of it, some of you may have not. I actually had to research the term specifically because I've heard many people use this before, and I'm like, okay, there's a lot of different ways that people describe it. But basically, the golden handcuffs, it's a term that's used where people inside a company get a ridiculous financial package. And when they accept that package, it makes it very hard for them to leave the company. So it doesn't only relate to people that have a job. This also relates to business owners. When you build a business that's so busy and dependent on you to make money, it's very hard for you to leave. Okay, golden handcuffs. And I believe in our pursuit as people who have ambition and drive to succeed in our vocation or our business, we want to be aware that these are really the only two outcomes that we can have. Either what we create is going to lead us to the next thing that we create, or what we're going to create is going to get us further into that structure of fuck. This is hard. This thing that I've created. It's not really, what I wanted. Now, there's also the third option, and this is reliant on you not winning, which is that you just don't create anything and you fall short. Okay, but today we're speaking in a frame of mind where we're assuming that you get to your goal. Now, the first thing that I want to bring up is that when you're there, okay, let's just reverse engineer this because you hear Hollywood superstars and everyone say it's like I think it was Jim Carrey's quote. It's like I wish everyone could get rich and have heaps of money so they can see it doesn't mean anything, right? So you hear quotes like that, and then if you've never had like a massive salary, but and again, what's massive in your mind in terms of lots of money is different to the next person. But like, if you haven't gotten to that number yet, it can quite often be like, yeah, okay, I hear that shit, but like, I want the money. All right. So I just want to take a moment to acknowledge that because I was definitely that person for a very long time until I actually got the money that I wanted. And then I realized it was like, okay, money matters, but the way I create money, or not the way, the structure I'm in when I'm creating money is even more important than the cash itself. Okay, now again, what do I mean by the structure? All right, so if you've been following my channel for a while, you'll know what I mean. The structure being, where's my focus at in terms of the future? What's the goal? What's the destination? And where am I at right now? Where am I at right now in my reality? So we have a vision, we have a reality. It sets up 2 points of focus, and that is a structure. Okay, when you've got 2 points of focus. So in terms of goals and success, we are talking about your current reality and your vision. Now, your structure is going to determine not only the success that you have financially, but it's also going to determine what you create after you achieve that end result. So if I put my hands up here, okay, just to explain how this could work for either the golden handcuff scenario or the expansive goal, let's call it, where the ripple effect, where your success breeds the next result. Okay, so let's imagine there's a lacquer band in between current reality and vision, and there's two poles. The lacquer band's tied around both. So I think no, here, right? So current reality is here. As we get closer to the vision, what happens to the lacquer band? Is it tight anymore? No. Okay. There's less tension here. So what you'll notice is side note, whenever you get closer to a goal, it's harder to usually get across the line because there's less tension in the game. But if we imagine that there's another lacquer band behind current reality, okay, that's set here back at the start, all right, where's the tension now? The tension is pulling you back in this direction towards your current reality. Okay, so you want to be mindful of this when it comes to the golden handcuff scenario and even the ripple effect scenario. If you're unconscious, if you're not aware, right, and you're in this structure of, let's say, what most people get into, I need to make money now, okay, because I'm under pressure. So I know that I've been there. I was in that scenario when I started my sales agency. So it was like, here we go. My current reality, what I was actually focused on, yeah, it was money, but deep down my subconscious knew it's like, oh, you're under a lot of pressure, and your goal is to not be under pressure anymore. Okay, so got the end result. And I remember that day, man. When I hit my first like broke my ceiling financially and got to that goal, I broke down. I broke down because I was like, fuck, thank God everything's paid. Oh my God. I had like this cathartic release. Pressure was gone. But the tension was pulling back towards here. So what happened after I had that cathartic release? Well, structure has integrity. My results started to dwindle the first few weeks of the next month. And then I found another reason to be under pressure. So it wasn't my bills anymore. It was like, fuck, I got to impress my clients. I got to impress my clients. I got to make sales to impress my clients. It's not just about, paying off my bills. I need to impress them. So once the thing got here and I had now put myself under pressure, all the way up. Oh, my clients are impressed. Bang. And it would come back. And so I was under that structure the whole way in my sales agency, the whole way, right? And that was a golden handcuff scenario. It was just heaps of pressure, no pressure. Heaps of pressure, no pressure. Money would build up, it would get stored away. And then, do you know what I did? Right? So it's like we can have multiple structures influencing us at the same time. So pressure was one. Another one was uh, so having surplus, debt versus surplus. So we had this thing with refunds that if sales got refunded through our clients, so let's say we'd make a sale, client gets handed off to the client that we're selling for. If they refunded to that client, we would have to pay our clients the money back, right? So for me, I'd have like here, it's like break even or just like we don't have any money to give back. So it's like the amount of sales we've made matches the refunds. So here we go. Current reality, I'm at even. And where I wanted to be was in surplus. So we'd get to surplus. And sometimes we would hold surplus for, 3 months. But you know what would happen every freaking 90 days or 4 months? It was 3 to 4 months, right? So the pendulum would swing back and a bunch of fucking refunds would come in that knock us on our ass and we were back in, break even. Sometimes we'd slip just a bit further back. But we're in that structure the whole time. And if I reflect, I have been in that structure ever since I started in sales, since my first role. That was a thing. It's like I need to be ahead of the game, not behind. So that's the real golden handcuff scenario where you are in a structure where you think it's about money. It's like, yeah, man, I just want to get this. Okay, but there's a motive underneath. There's an engine there that's driving the car automatically. And if you're not aware what that is, when you get to your financial goals and you've built up all the success, okay, you don't know where you're being taken back to if you're not, conscious of fuck, what's actually driving my insatiable need to have this amazing pay package or my insatiable need to grow my business. Like this is why lots of people can't keep staff. Okay, they can't keep staff, and I experienced this in my own agency. It's like I coached a few business owners on this as well. They've got too much work, okay, that they can't handle it, and then there's like the work where the place, the vision where the work's handled, then they can get more work. So what do? It's like, all right, we've got to just get to a place where we can serve all our clients. Do, 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 do. Bang, they get there. But again, the tension, the structure, it has to reset. So fucking comes back and people leave. I don't like this anymore. Oh, the owner and the staff member fights, or the staff member's incapable, or they're not the right fit, and they end up leaving. So when you're in a structure like that, I went through it with my salespeople. It has to reset, and you'll naturally recreate the need to go and get more people. So pause. The first thing you want to be asking yourself if you've watched this and you've gone, whoa, shit, okay, um, is you want to ask yourself if it's money, like if your goal is I want to get to this next revenue level. There's nothing wrong with that. I want to make this very clear. There's nothing wrong with having financial goals, but it's got to be about financial goals. If you want financial success because you are scared shitless about debt and you want surplus like I am, you're telling your subconscious create surplus and then reset to debt. Okay, that's what you're telling it. You're not telling it I want to build wealth. You're telling it this is what it's about. If you want money for the sake of money, okay, that's different. That's different. This is where you make completely different decisions. But first, you actually need to own what is driving my need for financial success. I got to get honest here, okay? And I know back in the day, I used to see videos like this and go, fucking bullshit. Who needs all that surface level crap? But then when the shit would hit the fan, I'd go, oh shit, man. Actually, there was something to that, right? So take a moment now. If I've really, gotten through to you, take a moment now and get honest. And get honest. Us blokes these days, we don't get honest with ourselves enough. We need to be more honest. Why do I want this? Why do I need to win? Okay? Why do I need to win so bad? And when you dig deep enough, you'll see it. It's not that hard. The ego's quite loud, right? Our emotions are palpable, and the thoughts, you'll know it. It's just about how honest can I be with myself right now? Okay, so that's the golden handcuff scenario, scenario one. But then we can have scenario two, which is what I want for everyone. Okay, it's what I want for everyone. It's what I'm creating right now. And it's when we achieve an end result and it sets up the next end result that we're going for. Okay, for example, when you make $5,000 in commission, okay, the way you created the 5,000 is going to help you create the 10,000 next month. The way you're going about it, it is about the commissions. It is not about fear of getting fired. And you're using, well, if I get $5,000 in commissions, I won't get fired, right? For example, or business owners, it's like, man, if I just get 30 jobs, or if I get 30 new clients, all right, if you run like a gym or something, 30 new clients a week, I don't know, whatever your target is, right? Then everything, okay, if it's about getting new clients, good for you, right? You can't go wrong. because then the way you create 30 clients, you'll learn. It'll be a learning experience. It's like, oh, right. So we did this, we did this. What if we just did da, 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 da? And then you'll find, okay, do we need to up the target? Maybe not, maybe yes. It's more of an observation when it's like that. But man, if you're in like what I was in, I need this much, right? For me, back in the day, it was like $20,000 in surplus. We were selling very high ticket, $20,000 in commission. So it's like, I need that. But what was actually going on behind the scenes, it was like, I am terrified of debt, and terrified of being in debt and losing my clients, right? So what I shifted to, all right, and this came without me really knowing it, this came when I opened up the appointment setting agency. I made a choice. It was like, all right, I want to serve a need here, okay? And I also, at the same time, I want to serve a need that I can scale. Now, part of the reason I started thinking like this because I saw, like, with the experience I had and I guess the emotional bandwidth at the time, I did not want to scale a closing business where I was managing closes, building offices around the world. I didn't want to fucking do that. What I decided was like I can still build multiple offices virtually if we do appointment setting. So what we did was we kept the closing agency open, but we opened up the appointment setting. And I made it about the appointment setting. It's like I want to scale to 10 retainers, 10 appointment setting retainers, and we'll build it out. And what started to happen was we did it gradually. For about 5 months, we only worked with like 5 or 6 clients, and it was great. And we slowly built up. Then COVID happened, so I had to shut down the business. But what started to happen, what was different, was there was stability in the business financially. There wasn't this big like swing and fear and oscillation and whatever, okay, around money, that is. There was still some emotions with some personal shit that I was going through at the time, but that's different. When it came to the money, things were organized. And so what changed it? I made my goal higher than the last structure. And so if you're in a scenario where you're like, I'm in the handcuff scenario, Jordan, the golden handcuffs, what do I do? In order to create a ripple effect where there's growth, you want to set a goal that's higher. You want to set a goal that's higher. And the goal that's higher is when you can say to yourself, what's going to be of service? Instead of, resolving my needs, okay, resolving my needs, money, power, or safety, whatever your thing is, okay, getting rid of my fear, getting rid of debt, okay, what am I going to serve? What am I going to serve? So for me, instead of going, I want to make big chunks of commission so I can pay off all my shit and have a surplus of cash, I went, people need appointment setting. All the clients that I've been working, they need appointment setting. So we're going to do that. And it was simple. It was simple, man. It was so simple. The intro offer came in, the level one offer came in, and within like a couple months, we had more than enough retainers that I was hiring appointment setters. Now, again, we didn't quite get to 10. All right, that would have been quite a bit of work. But again, it was a simple change and the finances stabilized in the business. But it was a decision. It was a decision that I needed to make that was not revolved around my ego. Because had I stayed in my ego, it would have been like, well, you're not making as much money. You're not making as much money. So what the fuck, you know? But at the time, what was more important to me was fulfilling the need. Okay, it was fulfilling the opportunity that was there. So I went for that. So for you, ask yourself, like, what is higher? What is higher? Okay, and I don't mean more money. If you're in the golden handcuff scenario right now, my guess is you don't worry, you're not too worried about um, increasing your salary or whatever. What you want is higher than that. And again, it might be, man, I'm tired of this corporate gig and I've got this and I'm in one of these arrangements and I don't know what I got to do. So perfect example where you would set something higher. It's like, well, yeah, although old mate ego's going, man, I need to get the fuck out of here. Okay, if you were to come from a goal, And again, what I mean by come from a goal, if you were to focus on a goal that was higher than escaping, okay, what you might find is you might find a new reason to stay in the company. Okay. You might also find by focusing on the new goal that a pathway to leave with ease opens up. Quite often, when that's the focus, that's what happens. Things just work out. When we follow what we love, when we follow our hearts, things just, have a way of working out in our lives. That's at least the assumption I hold, and it's what I encourage my clients to do as well, because we're not reacting anymore. We're not reacting. So for you, like what is that higher goal? If you're in a scenario where you need staff and you're stressed that you can't meet all the jobs that you're getting for your business. Let's say you run like a job-based business where you rock up to someone's house and build shit, or gardening or whatever, or maybe you're a hairdresser. I don't know what your business is if you're watching this, but ask yourself, it's like, okay, that's my fear, but what's the higher goal? What's the higher goal? And, for an example of a business owner that's overrun, it could be, okay, to just get back on what matters most and serve, right? So, and when you're in the orientation of serving, it's like, man, I want to ensure that our quality goes up. You might go, well, we're going to increase our prices. And then you don't have the problem of we've got too much work to handle. It's like, no, we're upping the quality of our services, and that orientation informs you of a way to sell the higher prices to your clients. And then it's like, okay, well, you're going to lose some leads, but that's all right. It balances itself out. And then you might find you get better clients, and then you get better people to come in to fulfill the quality of work, right? Then it's about something. It's not about you. So that's how essentially we expand. We create goals that are not based on ourselves. But again, I'll wrap up the video here. You know, you got to be honest. You got to be honest. Where am I coming from? Where am I coming from? Is this goal purely about meeting my own needs, or is this about creating a ripple effect for my career and my business? Okay, is this about furthering my the expansion of it? Okay, because if it is, you can't go wrong. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up there. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, ensure that you subscribe and share it with someone that could benefit from hearing this message about the golden handcuffs versus the ripple effect. And yeah, we'll see you next time.